With each new crossbreed and hybrid, scientists grow bolder. They start pushing the lines of ethics farther and farther away, resulting in some terrifying new creations that we cannot comprehend. Let's dive deep into the terrifying world of crossbreed creations. Robotic insects are going to be in charge of pollinating our plants. Imagine that. According to Live Science on their website, to quote, "Scientists have built a new type of robotic insect that can fly 100 times longer than previous generations. Real insects apparently are not pollinating at a fast enough rate for the Earth, so scientists want to help speed up the process. This isn't anything new according to the article, and they have been trying this out for years. The only difference now is that they've finally been able to figure out their endurance issue. It's stated that the wing flexures of these robot bugs are so light that a paperclip is heavier in comparison. It's super difficult to try and mimic the real thing though, and they were open with this challenge. A bee, for example, is made the way that it is so that it can sustain flight with a continuous speed with a very specific set of muscles, whereas the earlier versions of this experiment kept doing too much with its very weird design of 8 wings. But now reducing that immensely by making the insects even smaller, with only having 1 pair of wings, swings them in a proper direction. Maybe the next time you see a dragonfly or a ladybug, it might just be a robot. Is anyone really surprised that scientists are trying to bring back woolly mammoths? The first time researchers attempted this experiment was back in 2003, where they wanted to test out this theory with an extinct goat/ram species. It worked, only for about 7 minutes though. No surprise though, our technology back then was nowhere near as advanced as it is today, which is what brought back the idea of attempting this once again. First thing you gotta do when creating your own woolly mammoth is that you have to get yourself a fossil. Then you need to dig into it and locate its specific coding that has all the information you need on what makes a mammoth a mammoth. The next step that these scientists want to do is place it into a surrogate mother, an Asian elephant. Why this elephant? Well, because apparently they have similar genomes, which would make this experiment have a higher chance of success. You're probably thinking, why didn't they just clone it? Well, it's a little hard when your DNA sample is from thousands of years ago. It's just not possible right now unless it was fresh DNA. This would make the mammoth not entirely a replica, because it would still be classified as a crossbreed/hybrid animal, but we'll take what we can get. What if we used harmful bacteria to our advantage and had it eat up all the plastic in our oceans? Sounds a little far-fetched, but it's actually a possibility. Based on recent records, around 14 million tons of plastic is constantly circling around in our oceans every year, causing irreparable damage to ecosystems and marine life. Not only does it bring harm to them though, but it can also be extremely harmful for us. Any seafood that we choose to ingest has a higher chance of containing plastic in them. During their time at a facility, scientists accidentally stumbled upon something profound while they were collecting plastic bottles. Over time, they noticed something was slowly chipping away at the plastic. It was some strange new bacteria, and what was even more intriguing was that they harbored 2 very special digestive enzymes within them, ones that could only eat away from certain plastics that's found within our bottles, containers, and even clothing. This was an incredible find, and so the first thing that they came to mind was, how are we going to use this to our advantage? They took this bizarre bacteria and manipulated them, forcing their bodies to break down the plastic 6 times faster. Not only for that sole purpose though, for some reason they also want to have them turn into vanilla. Apparently there's a shortage going around, but I don't know if I'd necessarily eat them. A pair of twins in China had their genes modified without the government knowing, so that they would be immune to a very specific disease. Not only were they tested on, they were brought to full term, which already is highly unethical and illegal in many countries. He Jiankui successfully managed to genome edit these twins with the help of CRISPR-Cas9, a very popular tool that many scientists have been using when it came to these sorts of experiments. This bizarre but fantastic tool allows you to go into specific parts of a human's DNA and modify it to your pleasure. You want blue eyes? You want orange hair? Done and done. However, this wasn't done for cosmetic purposes. This researcher wanted to see if it was possible to delete a part of the DNA that made people more likely to become infected with a harmful disease. Knowing the repercussions for doing this, he was sent to prison, and the lives of these twins will forever be monitored to see what changes can happen within them. People are really out here breeding mutant animals. You know how bulldogs have that really buff, tough guy look to them? There is a new trend going around to make cats look just like them. We have the usual pedigree breeding, which keeps a specific gene the same, resulting in purebred animals, which is a whole different genetic issue, but now we're in the area of these bully cats, where we're intentionally breeding very different genetic genes within these cats. So I don't know how people came up with this, but basically, they took the gene that causes hairless cats to be hairless and the gene that creates the short legs within munchkin cats. Who thought of this? This is super popular in the UK apparently, because I haven't heard about it in Canada. But while American extra-large bulldogs are banned over there doesn't appear to be any issues with the bully cats. There's already so many issues revolving around the hairless and the munchkin cats. So to combine two species that are already struggling to make it to tomorrow into one, clearly I can't be the only one who sees an issue here. Of course, the people breeding them won't say anything about it because we gotta make a quick buck somehow, right? Speaking of quick bucks, some people breed gigantic hybrid sheeps to sell off to hunting companies. This specific crossbreeder, Arthur Schubar, thought it would be a financially smart idea, which it was, by combining an endangered species of some of the world's largest sheep and implanting them into his own iwi. He first cloned the embryos from this endangered species and then tossed them into the surrogate mothers on his farm. Out of this resulted a genetically pure Marco Polo argali, which can grow over 300 pounds and stretch out to 1.5 meters wide. That's a big endangered boy. He then took nutrient samples from this species when they were of age, I think, and then used that to impregnate more of his sheep. He was really out here just breeding right, left, and center. Of course, this was all done so that he could create really never before seen hybrid animals that he could sell for an insane amount of money. Eventually, however, his practices were found out and ratted to the police. And to pay for his crimes, he was only held for 6 months in prison. I feel it should have been a bit more than that, don't you think? Did you know you can go to gene therapy to either alleviate or completely manipulate a disease you have? Some of the listings off the FDA website include reducing a disease-causing gene with a healthy copy of the gene, inactivating a disease-causing gene that is not functioning properly, or by simply introducing a new or modified gene into the body to help treat it. I feel like I'm in 2050 right now. I'm not entirely sure when this new practice started up, but they also make it very clear on this website that the purpose is to make someone better, not cosmetically changing them. There are certain parts of your DNA that can be genetically engineered to carry out therapeutic genes within your cells. They take them out, do a little tweaking to them, and insert them back into your body. I'm on the fence with this because if done correctly, it's a much quicker way at curing incurable diseases. But messing around with human cells is extremely risky. It can even lead to a lot more serious issues down the line if something malfunctions with these genetically modified ones. What are your thoughts on this? Would you try it? Love is in the air, and for some reason scientists want to suppress that. We know that pheromones are a huge drive when it comes to finding connection with each other, especially in animals. Still somewhat in humans, but we're not fully aware of it in our day-to-day lives. To make it easier to understand, there are specific sensory receptors within our body that go off and attract potential mates around us. Well, scientists for some reason wanted to see what would happen if we suppress those receptors, and how important pheromones are when it comes to mating. In Japan, researchers tried this experiment on mice by genetically engineering them so that they could have this gene completely deleted. They used the good old gene editing tool CRISPR for this. When they first tried this with the female mice, they completely rejected the male rodents' advancements, not because they found them icky, but because they couldn't recognize them as males due to the lack of pheromone sensors. By also deleting this gene, they felt no need to reproduce either. Do you have any bizarre crossbreeding experiments you want to share? Let me know down below, and I will see you all in the next video.